So Jan, you won one of the most important events in every chess player's career and qualified for the match. So it's just a great achievement. So how do you feel now?
Thanks. First of all, I feel, I would say, really exhausted because it was an incredible tournament in many meanings. So first of all, I guess it took about 400 days to finish, from start to finish. So this is, I guess, kind of outstanding. So I mean, when we read about chess history, we know some players were traveling by sea from from America to Europe and so on. Yeah, but in our times, it's not romantic at all. It's because of the global pandemic thing, and I think the most difficult part was actually not playing chess. But these 13 months between the first leg and the second leg, and you need to keep your focus. You need to prepare. You constantly think about other guys. What are they doing? How do they prepare? What are they going to play? Because basically, it's like 1 year between two tournaments and only 7 games to prepare for. And you should be ready that you are going to face completely different players and in completely different situations. So let's say Ding, who played really poorly, I believe, in the first leg, so he scored -2, and in the second leg he scored +2. He also beat me today. So that's just one of the examples.
Yes, it was a very long period and very nervous period of expectation, of negotiations, but still, in one of his interviews, Anatoly Karpov said that this 1 year break would be a favor to you, because maybe you would save more energy for the second part. Do you agree with this?
Well, especially now when we know the result, indeed, I'm not a person who should, whine about this long break, because in the very end, I won the whole thing. But I would say that this also would help other guys, because candidates, it's a very difficult tournament because the really stakes are very high and there is only one place. So it doesn't matter if you score +1, +2, you earn some rating. You should score maximum number of points. You should take the first place. Otherwise, basically it's you can earn some rating, you can play some good games, but it's never ever thing which makes you happy unless you win it. Yeah. So, if we remember the last year, actually, everyone was afraid of this COVID. And as for me, I think on my last training session before the tournament, I got some slight cold. And it was, somehow it was going worse and worse and worse. And by the end of the tournament, I was feeling really bad. And as far as I remember, this last game of the first round against Maxim, I actually skipped most of my preparation because I just was feeling so bad. So I just wanted to save as much energy as I could. But it resulted in some opposite thing. So I just mixed up lines in the line which happened. Which are mixed up moves and quickly got a worse or almost lost position, and it actually cost me the game. And the situation wasn't clear anymore. Yes, I was like on +3 in the commanding position, and when we ended up on sharing first place with together with Vashia, and this was like very bad news for me. And anyway, I was like full of will to show this was, let's say, more or less random stuff, and I was preparing hard for the next game against Anish. And I was very shocked and disappointed when I knew that the tournament, is stopped, and let's say it will be resumed sometimes in the future.
Yes.
Sometimes in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But then some time passed, and I understood that I was like very far from my best conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So in this, speaking of this, indeed, I guess it made me some really big favor.
Yes, and so what was your strategy before the second part?
The strategy was, quite simple: don't lose. Well, it may sound funny, but in general, I had an opportunity. Okay, let's start from somewhere far. I had an opportunity to commentate two last editions of the candidates. So in 2016, it was like in Moscow, I was commentating together with Mirosnichenko, I guess, and it was only for half of the tournament. I guess I also was helping Svilder a little bit for this tournament, but I wasn't really involved into this. And in 2018, I was just making full coverage on on my Twitch channel. And I noticed that people are just going completely crazy for some reasons, because perhaps the stakes are high and they can't. The smaller problem is they can't play their best chess normally. So they're affected by some strength of opponents, for some good preparation of opponents, for some pressure. But it goes without saying that the bigger problem is that sometimes you just go completely crazy and you just play some moves, take some decisions you would never take under other circumstances. And this was like a big lesson for me. I mean, especially commentating the games of Kramnik. So I guess he played like 6 or 7 decisive games. And win and loss. And this basically, win and loss is the same as the 2 draws, but it never brings you closer to the first place. And in some point, I understood that, as far as I scored +2, I was, I guess, kind of lucky, because opening stage with Van Hau and Ding Liren last year, it went really well for me. I got something I really prepared for, and I managed to convert. Of course, not without some adventures, but okay. And I felt like, all right, at least I have 4 white for the second part of the tournament, while Maxim has 4 black. And also I felt like Maxim is more like white color player. Yes, so he really wants to push with white, and this is like his a really strong part. And at the same time, his repertoire is with black is a little bit risky for such a tournament when people have 1 year to prepare for you. So last year it wasn't a problem for him, because no one prepared for Maxim. Actually, everyone was preparing for Timur, so everyone was analyzing, let's say, Berlin and some Queen's Gambit, and at the end of the day, some completely different player with completely different style, different patterns, different openings. He came and as a replacement, and actually no one was ready to pose problems before him. And this, I guess, helped him a lot last year. And as usual, this last time replacement is always like a dark horse who can win the whole thing. And this also was quite a case. So in general, I felt like, I'll be given some chances indeed. So I have like 4 whites, and of course it's better to play with white than black than with black. And I prepared a lot, but weird enough, I could never show any of my preparation during this tournament. So it was really frustrating. So I prepared really a lot of nice stuff, but then I ended up like seeing other guys playing my ideas in some rapid events like 2 weeks before the tournament. There was some, European Club Cup online. And I just, at some point, I just threw my iPhone into the wall, because I just saw some guy playing, the line I prepared very well for the tournament. I was completely crazy at that moment. I was just so mad. And this dude, he even lost his game, but he got a superior position, but he even lost. But anyway, this was not anymore the line I can surprise anyone with. So, in general, to sum things up, I guess the key was to keep your blood cold, just be chill and try to play some good chess and try not to be affected with emotions.
So please tell us a bit about the course of events in the second half, and what was a turning point there? Which game do you suppose to be the best one for you?
Well, so I started with the white game against Anish, and there is something called, I guess, the Murphy law. What can happen, gonna happen. And actually, when I prepared for this game, I literally thought like, he might play Sicilian, or let's say first C5 or first E5. I even repeated some other lines. And I thought like, the last line he can go is Sveshnikov. So I could never prepare for Sveshnikov, and I had quite a good idea for Sveshnikov, but I didn't repeat it at all. And then, I faced Sveshnikov. I was very angry on myself, so I just made some quite random moves, got some decent position, and repeated it because I felt like, all right, so it's, anyway, it's not it's not the position I was aiming for. And also, I'd like to add, in general, somehow I had a feeling that Fabiano and Anish would be some way more serious threat for me at least than Maxim, because I felt like, okay, Maxim on 4 black colors is something which can be tough for him. Yeah. So despite he has one year of preparation, it's like it's always difficult to defend with black because he's a very inactive player and he's not that good at defending. Yeah, and probably that's why I was trying to be more solid with Anish and Fabiano in the end. So once again, as I mentioned before, is the key is not losing. Yeah, so even half a point is a small step, but this is a step forward. Yeah, and this is also in some way taking half a point from your potential opponent. So yeah, the game 2 against Sasha was, I think I was defending for the whole game, and he was trying to spice things up a little bit in the end, but I felt like if this is going to be a free roll, that's not for me. So this exchange sacrifice, which I actually refused to take and just accepted to draw instead. But he was just very annoyed with my decision. But okay. And then was the game against Kirill, which I supposed to be one of my chances because in general, quite some time to prepare first of all, and also Kirill didn't have any chance to play during the last year, and also unlike other participants, he surely likes some experience, some maybe his knowledge is not that wide, and you can maybe a little bit confuse him in the opening, and which actually happened in our game. So suddenly, I think he got into trouble after 8 or 9 moves. In not such a well-known line. I mean, of course, it's well-known for the guys who played, but in general, this semi-Catalan without d4 moves, it can be tricky if you face it for the first time, and that's what happened. So I guess it was very lucky moment for me that more or less I won this game without a big fight, because Kirill proved himself to be a very fierce fighter. So he won against Grishuk, he won against Anish in the last round, and I guess he could also beat Ding yesterday, so he had a very promising position, though he just blundered the game at some point. Well, and this, after I get +3, I felt like, okay, this is like going the right way, and now I got on to spoil it, so I just kept to my strategy. Maybe it's very boring. I don't like playing such chess, then you don't care about, you don't really care about what's going on in the game, so you just try to be solid, you try not to make mistakes. This is not, this is not very usual stuff for me. I prefer some excitement, some
active play.
Okay, you may call it active play, creative plays. Okay, today was sort of creative, yeah, and we all know where did it lead me to. I guess it was first turning point, and then the game against Wan Hao. Actually, by that moment, he only lost his game against Anish, so it wasn't clear that he's playing perhaps the worst event in his life, which we could see if we check his, if you would check his last 2 games. This is like a nightmare. I really feel sorry for him, and as far as I know, he's
going to quit chess.
Yeah, so as far as I know, he said he's going to quit chess, and actually, yeah, I think he said something like this to me also after the game, but I never really hoped to win with black against him, especially speaking of my opening choice, like Petrov, but yeah, it was also very, very important, the turning point. But at the same time, I must point out that the game, let's say, between Fabiano and Anish, Fabiano just, at some point, the player of his caliber, playing something like c3 and rook c1, just in order not to allow draw. This is very familiar to me. Then I'm playing, especially then I'm playing, not, some game when you should win by all costs. But it was very well familiar to me because, okay, I previously, especially, then I played against some opponent who was, in my opinion, weaker than me, let's say some not such a strong GM or so on, or maybe if we return even to, let's say, childhood, when, okay, some very typical for youth tournaments, and you just start making some weird moves, like not to let your opponent trade pieces, and then, okay, you end up in some poor position and you end up losing. Yeah, and this was like very familiar, but I mean, of course, I was like very, very stressed when I saw this. Okay, like Anish having only half a point less than me, and even okay. By the way, at some point, yeah, he technically was the leader of the tournament, while my game with Van Hao was still on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm very happy, of course, that I managed to convert it, because the position was tricky, and clearly my opponent wasn't in the mood to defend, patiently. And yeah, okay, scoring +4 was surely sort of a turning point. But I guess it's also very fine that Anish had, strangely enough, it's very fine that Anish had only half a point less than me, because it helped me a lot with my mental focus on the game against Vashier. Because under other circumstances, I would probably go for some silly line, trying to make a draw, and no one knows how the game would turn. But here, well, actually, I wanted to win that game, and I little bit changed my course, and I saw that Sasha is really pressing against Anish. But basically, yeah, it only took me 6 rounds to make the whole thing. But yeah, indeed, it was like a very, very stressful week for me.
Yes, and after you won the event in advance, you said that you were working with Vladimir Podkin, Nikita Vityugov, and Ildar Khairulin, and you also mentioned Peter Leko.
Yes.
So that was quite a surprise for the chess fans. So what did you get from this cooperation, and what did you expect of it?
Well, to say so, I think I get to put down that I got even more than I expected, since the result is so great. But yes, somehow I always felt like one of my big drawbacks is the lack of chess culture, the general lack of chess culture, and working with such. I mean, of course, like Ildar is starting with Ildar. He was born also in 1990, the same generation as me, Magnus, Karyakin, MVL, and so on. Andreikin, yeah, perhaps. I guess he's one of the most talented players among our generation, but though he didn't make his career that shiny because perhaps of, I don't know, some stamina problems, maybe some health issues. But he's really great at chess understanding. I mean, and especially in analyzing positions, he's just, outstanding. Nikita was just mostly my sparring partner. So, historically, I have very poor score against Nikita and Ildar. So, at least I have never beaten Ildar in a classical game. We didn't play that much after childhood, but yeah, okay, it was like, okay, they like to say about a kryptonite, yeah, but that's sort of. And Nikita is also the player who used to beat me quite often, so it was very instructive to play against him. And Peter is just a chess legend, I guess, and I think at some point he was really, really close to beating Kramnik in Brissago match, and I guess, yeah, this last game of the match is heartbreaking, and Kramnik managed to strike back and make the score equal. But yeah, Peter is surely understands chess really, really deeply, and yeah, there is amazing amount of knowledge anyone can take from him, and okay, this is a chance you should be a big fool not to use.
So during the event, did you read any news or analysis about you here or not?
Well, of course, I was trying to minimize my cooperation, let's say, with social networking, but we are not existing we do not exist in some vacuum, at least me. So of course I was, reading some tweets, some comments, and so on. But okay, I was trying to spend not like 24 hours a day for this. Yeah, slightly less. Yeah, but of course, I think we discussed this with Levon once, with Levon Aronian. And he said, yeah, like it's very important, like for him, for example, he says that it's like he's an actor who goes to the stage, and it's very important what does audience say about
from the audience,
what the audience say about him, yeah. And yeah, I think this affects me also in some way. It's very important. Then okay, I mean, sometimes it's like maybe it's more even instructive to read some hateful comments. Like, I mean, okay, so this guy resigns without a fight. Okay, what is this? Like, okay, these Russians are plotting something against someone, and so on and so on, and blah blah blah. And also, okay, of course, many thanks to the guys, to people who just sent me some supportive message. So during the tournament, it's really important to understand you're not playing for yourself only, you're playing for some people, and you're also trying not to fail them. Yeah, it's not only about playing for yourself, it's in some way also playing for your country, for the fans, for chess fans, for you know, this might sound, let's say, maybe too high, but you know, for some you know, for compatriots, and also out of some patriotic feelings, I think it's not the last thing to mention.
Yes, and there were many talks about the tiebreak criteria here. So, do you think is this criteria just or right? And don't you think that there should be a playoff match between those who tie for the first place?
Well, this is surely discussable. So. Many thanks to Kirill who won the last round. So you know, this particular edition seems like I got the sole first place, yeah, despite the loss in the last round. But in general, yeah, this always seemed like a fair thing for me. That you know, in some tournaments, you know, of smaller caliber, let's say, yeah, like I don't know. Because I played a lot of round-robin tournaments, when you need to determine the first place, you need the tie breaks. Yeah. So, for example, for an open tournament, there's like 3 or 4 people share it, and okay, somewhere like in Gibraltar, you play tie break. Somewhere like, I don't know, in the Grand Swiss, you just calculate some, I don't know, rating performance or book holds or, you know, direct encounter. So technically, you know, there, I guess FIDE also consider it. I'm not sure if so, but I think this could be possible, like to count the results for the first round. So technically, okay, everyone played against everyone, and then okay, Maxim would qualify because of a direct encounter against me. So he beat me in our game, and so on. And I guess once we sign the contract, we all once again technically, okay, mentally maybe no, but we all agree with what's going on with the rules, and the situation is equal for everyone. So okay, let's say, speaking of me and Danish, yes, because of you know, I think like Kasparov said, like, okay, because of the win 1 year ago, it's now like unacceptable for Anish to share the first place with me, as he will lose on tiebreaks. But I think he also mentioned after that, yes, let's imagine the opposite situation. If Jan shares with Maxim, then Maxim wins because of a tiebreak. Yeah. So this appeals equally to everyone. And I see nothing wrong in tiebreak, in an extra match, for example, in case of equal points, or I don't know, maybe we can discuss some other options. But this system, I think it's been stable for last 7 years, I guess, yeah, or maybe even last 8 years. I guess London 2013 was quite interesting because I believe Kramnik played with black against. Yeah, it was Kramnik playing against Chucky with black, some Pirk, so he wanted to win, because he was sure that Carlsen will never lose with white against Peter Swidler, and they ended up losing both, Carlsen with white to Swidler, Kramnik with black against Chucky, and it was also the tie-break, and I think because of a burger, Carlsen qualified to the match, and later became the world champion. So, you know, we should have started these talks back then, and I think back then there were also a lot of discussions. So I guess this more sort of the question for the FIDE authorities. But once again, once we all start, we are all in an equal situation, and it's only you know, the game of chess which decides who qualifies and who waits for the next edition.
Yes, and now you have qualified for the match against Magnus Carlsen. So please tell us about relationships with him, both over the board and out of the board.
Well, so we first played, I guess, European Championship under 12 in Spain in 2002, and was just, back then was just another simple game for me. Okay, so some weird guy, from Norway is not such a just country, so I wasn't really,
impressed,
excited about this game. So okay, he played well, but then he just collapsed, and I won. And then suddenly I played against him again in the World Championship the same year, and I guess we ended up sharing the first place. And I think I won the tournament due to the tie breaks. So of course, and then we also clashed a couple of times into the youth championships, but soon enough he stopped playing them. Yeah, so this was like probably his best decision, to stop playing youth. I mean, no. Normally, then a young player shows some good results within his age group or so on some youth tournaments. Some experienced coaches always say that you should stop playing with your guys of the same age. You better play with adults. You better play with some strong opposition, and you may start losing, but it's much more useful for your chess career, for improving your play. I guess we know each other for almost 20 years. And at some point, I guess back to 2010, 2012, we used to work a little together, but it didn't. I think we had some sessions within 2 or 3 years, but once, I guess I even was a second of Magnus in some London tournament. I guess was it 2012, I might be mistaken. Yeah. But he's a very nice personality, very nice dude, and I can't say that we are something like close friends, but I guess we are, quite a nice relationships. But you can have no friends other than board, and I think we never, were friendly to each other when we were playing chess, and especially in saying about the match, this is. Probably, you also should pause this.
Forget about your past.
No, it's not about forgetting about the past or the future. Just, for now, of course, it's a rivalry, and it's while we are in this undeclared war situation, the situation has changed a little.
Yes, but the recent matches saw too many draws and were decided in playoffs. So what do you expect from your match, and is it going to be more bloody?
Once again, I like to say that I commented not only candidates, I also commented the last match against between Fabiano and Magnus. And at some point I was saying to the viewers, okay guys, but today no way it will be a draw. Look, the position is so complex. Even theoretically it's not going to happen. 7th draw in a row, 9th draw in a row, or maybe the last round then Magnus had a very nice position, but instead he decided to go for tie breaks. He made a draw in some position I would evaluate is nearly winning for him. And you never say never, so I don't know what to expect. So first of all, I expect myself to prepare well and to play well, and I don't think I should care a lot about the rest.
So not speaking about chess, what did this severe year of the pandemic teach you?
Well, that's a tough question, because I don't think it really teaches me something, perhaps patience, because I used to be very busy with chess, especially with last couple of years, 2018, 2019. Especially 2019 was just a madness. I decided to combine Grand Chess Tour, Grand Prix, World Cup, something else perhaps. And it was literally, I guess it started in May, and until the very end of the year, I never really had a chance to have a rest. So it was at some point 2 weeks. I also participated in this Fisher Championship. Was a nightmare, and I was completely exhausted by the end of the year. And I guess more or less by a miracle, I qualified by Grand Prix, because my battery was very low. And of course, my favorite part was in between the tournaments when I came home, and I just didn't even unpack my luggage, but I just like on the sofa watching some movies, playing some games, and just chilling. And suddenly I got the more or less the whole year of such life, and clearly for the first couple of months I was just completely enjoying. So I was just playing all sorts of old computer games, some feeding up my nostalgia feeling, and so on and so on. But then at some point I understood that okay, this is quite a boring stuff. So I'm not going to to meet my friends, to go for a tournament. Okay, yeah, I had more or less, I was more or less busy with these online events, but it's just completely different. So it took me also quite some time to focus on it. So yeah, probably the toughest part was to remain patient and to slowly prepare for the next leg of the candidates. And I'm not sure if this actually taught me something, but it was really challenging. Yeah, so this year, I mean, okay, I guess I improved my chess a lot because I had a lot of training sessions. I really had a lot of analyzing a lot of positions, learning a lot of new things, and this was very important. So comparing, let's say, me from today with me from 1 year ago, I guess I made a huge step forward chess-wise. I'm not sure how is it if it's really obvious in my play, but it's my let's say some inner feeling. But speaking about other aspects of life, can't say I learned something new. Okay, we got a doggo, so this was probably the biggest change within the year.
Yes, and speaking about online chess, now since you're going to play in the match, will you reduce the number of online events you're taking part in?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not so sure it really affects, because I should say I never took it too seriously. And it was, by the way, a big question because, Fabiano, at some point, he just stopped playing online. So I think he just didn't take part in this Champions Tour or something, yeah. So he just stopped any online,
Activity.
online chess, online activity. Maybe he played a couple of Title Tuesdays, but, I'm also not sure about this. And somehow it was also a major question for me if I'm going to play in this last event, but I just checked the calendar. And I thought, okay, well, this is 1 month, and anyway, I need some practice. So anyway, okay, I can, I don't know, play, for example, with Nikita, yes, so some training match, but it won't be as competitive as, playing against finest players. So in the end, I thought like, all right, probably 1 month is enough to have a rest. So I was actually planning to play for 3 days, get or maybe 5 days, and then okay, I'm getting knocked out, and then okay, I got some practice. I'm not getting too tired. But it went, the second worst scenario. The first worst scenario was playing the match for the 3rd place and lose, and the second worst scenario was playing the finals and lose. And in the end, I didn't came, I didn't win the whole event, and I was very tired. So I had a final and very important training session right after this tournament, and then I came there. Okay, for the first 2 or 3 days I was just completely procrastinating, so I didn't do anything. So I was like watching guys starting some chess, analyzing some lines. Oh, guys, very nice. Okay, I go for a walk. Yeah, keep on the good work and so on. Yes. So the big problem is the current format is a little bit too hard for players. I guess we all want some drama, some excitement, a lot of games, a lot of turnovers and so on. But playing 9 days without a break is like the current format is. I don't know. I think it's too much. So that's why I think twice if I'm going to play more. But I guess I'm more or less in chances to qualify for the final of this the big tour, which is going to happen in USA. But at the moment, I'm not even sure I really need this. Yes, I guess in life it's very important to focus on things which really matter. With all the respect to this huge chess boom we have online, also because of these online tournaments, I can't state that it matters for me somewhere nearby, like the classical chess and especially the World Championship cycle.
How are you going to celebrate this winning the candidates?
Well, surely I get, first of all, I get to have some rest. So actually yesterday was the first night I slept well within like last 2 or 3 weeks. Really well, without like any extra thoughts. Like, am I going to, you know, am I going to? Because you know, it was very difficult mentally. So, such amount of the work you put in, it's probably, if you don't think the candidate is going to nowhere. So I mean, okay, you can use your novelties in the next tournament. You can earn some rating points. You can play a few good games, but it's like very different. So once you have the goal. And when you miss it, it's just a very sad story. So finally, yeah, yesterday was you know the first time I slept well in the night. Okay, and maybe this resulted in my poor game today. Who knows? Yeah, but and yeah, well, when I come to Moscow, probably I'll have some small party with my close friends. But I don't think I have enough time to celebrate. It's not 1 year anymore for the next event. It's only half a year, and I guess when you say half a year, okay, you think, oh, wow, that's quite some time, and okay, there is enough time to train and to prepare. But frankly speaking, having all this experience of preparing, having 1 year preparation for 7 games, and ending up okay, but we didn't see this, and this. And come on, how can we play without, like, how could we prepare that badly? Yeah? And anyway, you have this feeling. Then this means, like, it's never enough time. You don't have enough time to prepare. So hopefully, yeah, for the next World Championship match, I'll have, like, 2 more years of preparation, yeah? For this one, I think I'm already in a time travel. So it's not really... I guess there is not just enough time to celebrate, to have a rest. So I think it will be very smooth, and then just prepare, and then prepare again.
Jan, thank you so much, and good luck to you.
Thank you.